Hi everybody, welcome to Juneau, Alaska. Today I'm going to talk about my 7 favorite things to do there. So as we drive around the cruise port area, let's just get right into it and tell you what we're going to look about in this video. First we're going to go to the Alaska State Museum, then the McCauley Salmon Hatchery, followed by the Mendenhall Glacier. After that we're going to move on to the Shrine of St Therese and the Jensen-Olson Arboretum. After that, we're going to move on up to Eagle Beach and then come back and take the Tracy Arm Fjord tour out of the port right there in Juneau. Aside from well above average traditional cruise port shops, the one thing I encourage you to see is the Sealaska Heritage Institute. It's right there in downtown. You can't miss it. And if you want to make sure that you're getting actual Alaska Native art, you can get it here. They have just beautiful things, and they are all Alaska Native made. Abalone shells, you saw the walrus and mammoth ivory carvings, clothing, design, they have pottery as well, and they also have an exhibit area. Unfortunately, it's closed when I was there, so we couldn't get in, but I encourage you to go. Hey, Juneau is not a large city. You can walk to many places. The one area I encourage you to walk to is the Alaska State Museum. Boy, this is just a fine, beautiful, modern museum. It's not too crowded. It's a 6-minute walk from the main town area. Walrus tusks and what you can make with walrus tusk and ivory. And I just love this woolly mammoth tusk, woolly mammoth ivory. This dates from about 10,000 years ago to 100,000 years ago when woolly mammoths ruled the area. Just absolutely beautiful. Here is the 1918 Thunderbird House door to the Yakutat Tlingit House. Beautiful. It looks like it's brand new. I'm glad they preserved it. Scrimshaw, of course, is a big whaling area. Now, this was interesting to me. This is traditional Athabascan garb. Athabascan is common language in the Alaskans, but it's also spoken by Apaches and Navajo down in the Four Corners area. There's a little bit along the coast in California, but otherwise, hey, it's limited to those areas. Makes you wonder how it got there. They have lots of traditional clothing here. Some of it was I thought was pretty fascinating. Look there on the left. That's made out of bird skins. One on the right is traditional mammal hair, and just beautiful designs that you associate with Native Alaskans. This one is more than unusual. That's made out of puffin skins. Yep, puffins. That's kind of the Arctic's version of little penguins. Of course, kayaks. Famous for their kayaks. As you move on to the museum, you get to more modern times, and you can see the influence of Russia on Alaska, and then moving into the sale to the United States. Lots of history here. As I said, it's a wonderful museum. They also have one of their Bristol Bay double-ender boats. These were fishing boats. Strangely, by law, you could not put a motor on a boat until 1951 up there. The official reason was to limit overfishing, but the locals actually believed it was by the influence of powerful canneries to keep their costs down. They go through the mining and fur area, and here you have a life-size replica of the Alaska pipeline. There's plenty of room for me to stand under that. Then it wasn't just gold that they mined up in Alaska. It was pretty much everything you can think of, and a lot of companies were involved in it, not just individuals panning for gold. The history of Alaska in World War II is also on display. And if you didn't know, the Japanese occupied a little bit of Alaska during the war for a while. I went back into the house at the end, and it's a beautiful place. Hey, I highly recommend going to this museum. I can't show it all here. There's plenty more to see. Well worth the 6-minute walk and the $14 entry fee. $13 if you're a senior. McCauley Salmon Hatchery, that's a $5 entry fee and about a 7-minute drive up Glacier Highway from the downtown area. If you're at all interested in the life cycle of salmon, this is a great place to be.
As of right now, those net pens over there, we just released our baby chum salmon out of those. They memorize this scent as their home.
Their hometown.
So yeah, all those salmon down there, those are chum salmon.
What type?
Chum.
Chum.
Yep. But once this gets too full, we will sort it into those raceways by sex and species. These ones are the king. I believe there's about 1.2 million king here. And then on this side, there are the cobos, and I believe there's about 250,000.
This hatchery specializes in Chinook, chum, and coho salmon. And as he mentioned, they have about 1.2 million baby king salmon maturing in there right now and 250,000 coho salmon. They have great signage discussing how they do the process. And what I found particularly interesting is how do salmon know to go back to the river that they were born on when it's time to spawn? Apparently, they have a sense of smell, and they smell the water where they were born, and that's what drives them back to where they came from when they spawn. And the sad part is, once a salmon spawns, it dies. But they become terrific food for bears and eagles, and let's not get on our high horse here. Who doesn't love salmon? So, yes, we're a big consumer of salmon as well. So you can learn quite a bit about salmon while you're here. And there is the, I believe it's about 450-foot salmon ladder. And right now they have their chum salmon coming back after having lived their life out in the sea. And you can go down to a viewing area and see them there. All right, now we're going to move on to the Mendenhall Glacier. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because I have a separate video. I'll put a link to it in the description and hopefully at the end of this video as well. But I highly encourage going there, from Photo Point to Nugget Falls and some of the other hikes that you may want to take. It's probably the #1 attraction in Juneau, and I highly recommend it. But like I said, if you want complete coverage of it, please see my other video, the trail guide, and I'll tell you what I highly recommend for the walks and which one I say skip. It's a very beautiful area. All right, now we are moving on to the shrine of St Therese. Now, she's actually the St Therese of Lisieux, France. This area was completed in 1945 in her honor, and she is the patron saint of Alaska. The young woman died in the late 1800s, I believe it was, at the age of 24. This is about a 30-minute drive from Juneau. It is an extremely peaceful and beautiful area. See those trees out there? That's on a little peninsula, and that's where we're headed to next. That's where they have a small church. But look at these guys. That's a marmot. The only other time I've seen marmots was about 50 years ago in the High Sierra, and they were in alpine meadows back then. I did not expect to see them at sea level. But look at this beautiful church. Yes, it's a Catholic area, but you don't have to be Catholic to appreciate the beauty, the quiet, the solitude of this area. And I just love structures made of wood. Such a warm, inviting feeling. As you continue your walk around the peninsula, you will see that they have a walk with the Stations of the Cross. And oh yes, that just happened to be a bald eagle flying by at the moment. How appropriate and how beautiful. It's a very simple walk. I know it's a little bit out of the way for most people, but if you have a chance to get there and you're looking for some beauty and tranquility, this is definitely the place to be. And I just love these guys. The island, the area is full of them. I just wish I could bring them back and take care of my grass. Such a beautiful, beautiful view. And it reminds me of Mont Saint Michel in France. All right, next stop, Jensen-Olson Arboretum. That's just about 2 minutes beyond the shrine of St Therese. And this is an area, there's no fee here. There's no fee at St Therese, but donations are welcome at both. This was donated to the city of Juneau by Carolyn Jensen, and it opened in 2007 as a public garden and living laboratory. They host over 1,200 native and cultured species. It's free. It's a fine stop. Next stop is Eagle Beach. This is a state recreation area. Again, no fee. It's nestled on the Eagle River. It's about a 37-minute drive from downtown Juneau. Opened as a state recreation area in 1996, about 570 acres, and it is appropriately named Eagle Beach. And I can't imagine, because this is probably a good tributary that feeds salmon returning for the spawn. And I would imagine you're going to see a lot of eagles and bears here feasting July through October. If you take one of the many trails that they have here, you're going to come to the Princess Sophia Monument. This is the most tragic shipwreck in the Pacific Northwest history. In 1918, 364 people died when the ship hit a reef. And the really sad part is they didn't have to die. So we're going to flash back to the State History Museum, where they have a great display on the tragedy of the Princess Sophia. The most riveting part to me was that they have radiograms, transcripts that actually happened during that day. At first, the captain said, "Don't worry, we're going to keep all the passengers on board because it's safer here than transferring them to another vessel." When he realized he needed to do that, it was too late. A storm came up, blew the ship off the reef, and it foundered, and everyone on board died. That's a beautiful drive up there. All right, we're going to head back along the way. Don't be surprised if just off the highway you can see 3 or 4 bald eagles. Those were immature. Last thing we're going to talk about is a Tracy Arm Fjord Cruise. This is back out of the main area in Juneau. And it is well worth it. It's a little bit pricey. It's going to be about $340, $350 to take. It's 7 hours. But in my mind, if you're only going to be in this area once, it's well worth it. See some killer whales. You'll see some seals. You'll see some elephant seals. It's just fantastic, even with the weather. But again, I'm not going to cover that in great depth here because I have another video on it. But I just can't resist showing you some of the highlights and wondrous nature that you're going to see if you go ahead and take this trip, which I highly recommend if you can afford it. There's the South Sawyer Glacier, which is the terminus of your trip. And if you want more information, I encourage you to go to my video on that. Again, I'll have a link in the description and try to post it at the end. Well, I hope you get something out of that. I hope it helps make your trip to Juneau better, and you can make some choices on how you want to spend your time. Thanks for watching. As always, I am enjoying retirement.